A bill that would actually ban some Christian books is working its way through the California State Assembly.
If this bill were to pass, would this prohibit the sale of the Bible that teaches these things about sexual morality?
Well, literally, according to how this law is written, yes, it would.
In American history class, most people learn that America was founded so everyone could be free to think and believe what they want. But is that all in jeopardy? Shock and concern swarmed the nation when California legislators introduced a bill that would supposedly ban Christian books, including the Bible.
Because the person went and purchased the Bible based upon the philosophy that gives them the answers for how to leave homosexuality, they could literally sue based upon that fact. So the Bible, in that case, would be prohibited. And that is a tragedy.
Christian families feared for what would come next, questioning if their freedom to believe was on the line. What is this ban really about? What does it mean for the future of our nation? This bill is a small amendment that packs a big punch. Hearts were troubled and minds were boggled as the California media was electrified with news of a new bill that would apparently ban Christian ideology. People didn't know where to turn to get all the information because, let's be honest, a lot of media outlets aren't necessarily trustworthy. The sensationalism of the bill caused outrage and hysteria, and the facts began to be blurred. Here's the rundown of the bill. So it all starts with the California Consumers Legal Remedies Act, which was originally passed to protect people from shady businesses. The CLRA Act basically says that you can sue anyone that made you pay them for a service or product that was in some way fraudulent. This covers things like phony psychic readings, unlicensed therapists, or that random guy on the street that sold you a fake Gucci bag and told you it was real. Which, if you bought a Gucci bag from a random guy on the street, that's on you. As PC culture has grown throughout the nation, California legislators started thinking to themselves, hey, there's some stuff that's missing that maybe we should cover. With the recent rise of LGBTQ rights and the emphasis of avoiding any partisan language, legislators thought the CLRA was missing a section about bamboozling LGBT people with a magic fix-it pill or a therapy session that would all of a sudden cure their homosexuality, including churches that conducted conversion therapy. To include this new concern, the bill would amend the act to include, and I quote, the sale or lease of goods and services that promote sexual orientation change efforts. Now, of course, this doesn't seem like a direct attack on the Bible, or any type of Christian book for that matter. Most people would say that the people that don't like this new brand of political correctness are definitely overreacting. But let's get into both sides of the new bill and why people are freaking out. On one end, the simplest explanation is that the bill is not intended to ban the Bible. The intention of the amendment to the CLRA is to protect LGBT people from any Joe Schmo that will sell them a whole bunch of baloney to cure their gayness, or from a hateful person that tells them they're going to hell and will never be loved by God unless they stop being gay right now. The problem is, a legislature's intention doesn't always mean that the public will perceive it that way. If a bill is written too vaguely, the door is open for anyone to interpret or use the bill to enforce things they weren't meant to enforce. This gets us into the whole banning the Bible problem. I'll give you an example. If an LGBT person walks into a bookstore, picks up a Bible, and reads a verse claiming that homosexuality is a sin and therefore wrong, that person could feasibly sue the bookstore for selling a good that encourages them to change their sexuality. And they might even win. The vague verbiage of the bill can permit anyone to pursue legal action against anyone else for selling or promoting any type of book that speaks against homosexuality. Ever heard of the First Amendment? This language would apply to people with Christian beliefs and readers of Christian literature, putting them at risk for believing what they believe and reading what they want to read. As long as the service or good encourages someone not to be gay, it's fair game.
Well, this bill, if it passes, would prohibit a great deal of what it is we do. We have 13 ministries helping people who have the same goals, and all of those would be impacted by these bills.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. No one will actually pursue legal action against a person over the Bible. That's crazy talk. but it's a real-life concern. CBN even reported, this means the bill would make it illegal to distribute resources, sell books, offer counseling services, or direct someone to a biblically based model for getting help with gender confusion and homosexuality. Another news outlet in support of the new bill literally described it as a limitation on the First Amendment, free speech. Many people have come forward in support of the bill, including attorneys that claim that the negative reaction to the bill is dramatic. One attorney, Anthony Sampson, talks about how no one is going to go on a tirade, tearing Christian books and the Bible off the shelves of bookstores and suing vendors for everything they've got. But who's to stop them? Christian dogma might form the basis of efforts to change a person's sexual orientation, but the Bible itself is not a gay conversion therapy manual. While this is true, the concern is not about the literature itself. The fight is about free speech. A pastor can't promote the Bible as a resource in the struggle with sexual desire. A Christian therapist can't offer a theologically based book about avoiding same-sex struggle without fear of losing their license. This bill, in its simplicity and sweeping language, is a threat to a belief that Christians hold. Many people view this bill as the start of a slippery slope. Take what's happening in Israel, for example. The Israeli government is currently in the process of proposing a bill that would ban evangelism in the land, the very place where the events of the Bible occurred. Violation of this law will land the offender in prison.
Anyone who persuades a person directly, digitally, by direct mail or online to convert his religion, his sentence is 1 year imprisonment. And if the person was a minor, his sentence is 2 years imprisonment.
This is a devastating possibility for both inhabitants and missionaries to Israel. Christians in America look at this and can't help but worry that this same thing will eventually happen here. So, what's the answer? Is the Bible really being banned? The immediate answer is no, but it is on the horizon. Now that we know this, what can we do about it? The first thing to remember is that in all circumstances, good and bad, we need to first turn to God and His truth. We must first know that the world we live in is troubled. This is no surprise to God. Ephesians 4:18, they are darkened in their understanding, alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them due to their hardness of heart. We must then understand that we are to be a light in a troubled world. We cannot meet hatred with hatred. Ephesians 5:8, for at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. And when we see something that's wrong, God calls us to stand up for what's right. Proverbs 31:8, open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all who are destitute, but to do everything with love in our hearts. 1 Corinthians 16:14, let all that you do be done in love. The short version is that, yes, Christian literature is in danger. The amendments proposed to the Consumers Legal Remedies Act protects one group but puts another one at risk, begging the question, how involved is too involved? Will it ever be fair for everyone? The arguments about whether this new bill is an attack against Christianity or not is simply distracting us from holding on to God's truth, being a light, and standing up for what's right in love. Oh yeah, and keeping our Bibles close.